You're listening to the iRacers Lounge podcast, where we discuss everything iRacing in a casual setting. Enjoy.
Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is the podcast for the iRacer, where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Brian McCubbin.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
Hey, David Hall.
Hello, hello.
Donnie Spiker.
Good afternoon, everyone.
And Greg Hectus.
Can you hear me?
On the show today, we will review all the new goodness from 2023 Season 3 build. A new Porsche Super Cup champion is crowned, and we get Boosted Media's long-term review and final thoughts on the SimiCube active pedals.
That's right, and you can follow along with us in real time on your PC or mobile device as you listen to the show and see for yourself all these great topics we'll discuss by visiting iRacers.com, selecting show notes. So log on and we'll...
Can we just do that read again? And Brian, you're chopping up really, really bad.
Just don't forget to cut it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Somebody else want to jump in, or you want me to try again?
Is it the orange?
Yeah.
Am I still choppy?
Yeah, you are.
All right, I'll read it. And remember, you can follow along with us on your PC or mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com and selecting show notes. So let's see you there.
All right, let's jump right into the topics. It's Build Week, and this first topic is literally on fire. We have the Cadillac V-Series R GTP. So they did end up releasing it as well.
Anybody drive it yet?
No, I didn't buy anything. Seen some videos of it, and that's what we got here. We got high quality pictures. You gotta love the steering wheel. You want to make sure the wheel is on if you buy this car, because it says Cadillac right on it. It's real easy to tell which car you're in when you're in the cockpit, and I just love the style of the wheel and the button layout.
I like how the grid looks as well, the front. It actually has a slightly different front than the BMW.
Now, I may be jumping ahead, but one video I have later in the script, one of our listeners actually drives this car, and his thoughts were, man, there's a lot of power compared to, he actually bought all the three new cars, and that's what he said about this one. Had a lot of push in it, kind of hard to stop, but boy, when you take off, it goes.
Isn't that the definition of all American cars? It can go, but can it stop?
And tight. Steer.
Now, I forgot to ask this question in chat. Is this car, obviously, would it rival the same as the BMW then, David?
It's the same class.
Okay, yeah, so it'll be in the same class of that one.
Understeer, Mike.
Understeer. Okay, see, I don't even know the difference between the two terms. That's how bad I am. But I understand what he means. When I watch him drive it, he was tight. It was, it was hard to turn.
Understeer is European for tight.
There you go. But, I'm going to call it tight, because here I am.
Definitely a pretty looking car. We also have a video of it, and it's going to be in IMSA. So they're not putting the LMP3 in. Obviously, they're going to be sticking the Caddy in there into the IMSA and probably the Euro Series as well. The engine definitely has a deep rumble, doesn't it?
Naturally aspirated V8 with an electric motor.
like he's sitting on the left side of the car and not the right, like the other one.
I think the BMW sits literally right in the middle.
It's a little bit off to the left. The only one that sits on the right is the LMP1 um, Audi, isn't it? Or is it the Porsche? Porsche.
I'm talking about the Ligier.
Oh,
So is the old Radical. Is you also sit on the right in it.
Well,
Then-
speaking of Ligier, David.
Well, that's what's coming up next. We have a tweet from iRacing. Oh, from us. Why? No, we don't. Why is that picture showing the new episode is up? Oh, it's a reply.
Oh.
Okay, I see. So it is iRacing. I just gave us some pointers on the new LMP car and more feedback on the pit road hat. So he pointed out that. Well, tell us what he pointed out, Donnie.
Yeah, so iRacing Ozzy has given us some pointers on how to pronounce the new LMP3. Great show once again, guys. The new LMP3, it's pronounced. His take is, and we'll take his word for it, Ligier or Ligier. So however you want to let that roll off the tongue. Liger, for us laymen, but I'll go with Ligier. That's how I'll try to squeeze it together. But yeah, so anybody give this one a shot yet?
No, didn't buy it either, but saw the video. Sitting in the car with the onboard, you can't tell what car it is. I mean, I can't anyway. So I was real happy when we went to the Cadillac and it says Cadillac right there. I'm like, oh, okay, now I know what car he's in. But that's my first feedback is they need to brand the inside of the car with a brand or something.
Yeah, I don't own any of the prototypes, so I think this would be a good progression for me if I wanted to go that route. So I'm kind of happy they got the LMP3 into the service. So that'd be a nice car for me to start off on once I go down that route.
Now he in that video that we have later, he drove this car as well, the Ligier, and he liked it. It drove very well. It didn't have the power like the Cadillac, but it turned better.
It's because you're not going as fast.
It is a different class, obviously, a LMP3. The other feedback that we got from iRacing Aussie was on the pit speed limiter trick. He said no penalty even in IndyCar when you're doing the upshifting back and forth. He said you can do 1 mile an hour over manually also with no penalty. So that was remember in that video last week, that was the third thing the guy tried was he did it without the limiter and he just pushed it right up to the limit. But what iRacing Aussie is in confirming here is it's 1 mile an hour over you can push it.
I think though the current question still is that considered an exploit or not? The game's not giving you a penalty, but does it count as an exploit or not?
I don't think so. I think it's experience.
we're all there to be able to try it, right? You can all try it, just if we get caught.
It's about if you have the knowledge to do it, kind of thing. But I mean, but look at it from a different aspect. Remember a year ago, the grass problem at Spa, where they were going down the straight in the grass to cool the tires every single lap. And, that ended up being, not cool at all. But I mean, that's kind of in the same vein, right? You find something that's a little weird and you do it.
And didn't some of those guys ended up suspended?
Exactly. So I don't know. I mean, can you get suspended from doing this on pit road? I don't think you can. I mean, because the pit road limiter or being pit road speed thing is all an automated penalty, right? So if it's either a yes no penalty, right?
It's also a tiny advantage. You're talking, especially when you're doing most of the time this is happening in road courses with no cautions.
I think for me personally, I wouldn't do it. The reason is during a road course race, this is that one break in the action where I can breathe, my heart relax a little bit, maybe reach down and get a drink, out of my cup. Uh, I don't want to be monkeying around first, second, first, second, first, second, or trying to, hold it 1 mile an hour over and almost get penalized or get penalized. I'm not going to take the risk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not good enough on the road for it to matter. So I'll take my pit limiter and enjoy the break like Mike's talking about.
You lose 5 times as much time if you get one slowdown at Le Mans.
Yeah. So you're not, your point, David, it's not a lot you're talking about, a tenth, a 2/10.
All right, Brian, how about Garrett Maines getting him a new real ride?
Yeah, this is a tweet from Garrett Maines, and it was pretty interesting. He said, "Never thought I'd have a NASCAR Cup in the garage, yet alone one with my name on it. I can thank Scott at MCU Body, and I can't thank Scott at MCU Body enough. More to come." So it's actually a number 12 car, a Cup car, but it's got Garrett Maines' names on the was it an A-frame right above the window. And on the front of the windshield, just like his real car would be in real life. Pretty cool that he got that on there. I'm not sure where the car came from. I didn't really get all that information from the tweet, or what it's being used for, but it's still pretty cool.
So did he buy a old Gen 6 car and then wrap it with his paint scheme? Because I'm not finding out why he has it wrapped with his paint scheme.
No, haven't figured it out yet. I'm kind of wondering if this is going to turn into a real ride. Like, is this the first sign of it? But I've been watching his feed and I don't see anything that indicates anything really. So I thought we would bring it up. He does put the hashtag sim to reality in the tweet. So obviously he's looking to get an opportunity. And boy, if it's in a Cup car, that's pretty cool because that's what it is. It is like Donnie said, a Gen 6.
I'm thinking maybe ARCA. It almost looks trimmed out for ARCA. I'm looking at the spoiler in the back, but obviously it doesn't have the Menards wrap or painting on it. But yeah, I'm curious what this is.
Can you tell by the little stickers in front of the 12 behind the front wheel? Because doesn't NASCAR have like certain ones that you put there every time?
Yeah, they'll have NASCAR stickers there, but it has the E Series sticker and the Coca-Cola iRacing sticker. So it's his own wrap he designed. I'm just curious about it. Like, why did it? Unless he just bought a Cup car to buy one, because I heard they weren't terribly priced if you had money. Yeah, I don't know.
All right, next one makes me a little sad, Donnie, but we've got a new Detroit, maybe.
Yeah, I haven't actually purchased Belle Isle on the service, but Indy driver Santino Ferrucci hopes the newly designed Detroit street circuit lives up to the exciting racing that the nearby Belle Isle track produced. Will iRacing be far behind to scan? So, per Autosport, a tweet for them, it looks like a quote from Ferrucci saying, "This is actually a pretty wide street course. Believe it or not, this is going to be really fast." Santino Ferrucci hopes the new street circuit lives up to the excitement. It's funny. I got to watch a lot of the race on Sunday, and it did look bumpy. It looked exciting. To take it back to NASCAR, I drove the street course in Chicago last night for the first time, and they've got 2 particular corners at the end of long straights there that are super tight. And now this is the first time I've actually been worried about the race in Chicago. But Detroit wasn't too bad.
The Belle Isle was probably one of the better street courses on here. I think Belle Isle was always fun in the GT3s and IMSA series when they went there, and the Indy cars were fun too. Do they scan a track like this if it's not something that it looks like obviously only IndyCar is going to it. Does iRacing scan something if we're not using it for its intended purpose?
I doubt it, unless they're there for years to come. But if this is a one and done or two and done, I don't think they scan it.
Especially if it's only IndyCar.
Well, and I think they're staying there for years to come. They'll be racing there. But like I said, who knows how long that contract for that Monster has for the IndyCar series. But I just don't see us getting a street course for only being open for a weekend to get it scanned too, right?
Yeah, it'd be hard. I think IMSA was there. I think the Michelin Pilot Challenge was there.
Yeah, the Pilot Challenge was there.
That's other things in Indy there, but not probably enough to get the scanning crew out there. Like you're saying, they have to probably get out there weeks before the event happens to get it scanned and then to redo all the artwork. But I thought they could scan it quicker now because can they just do it during some downtime during the weekend?
My thought is with the cold relationship with IndyCar and iRacing, and that kind of thing, and the loss of the IndyCar, the Indy 500 license and whatnot. I mean, I don't see iRacing going out of their way to scan this track. Like you said,
They won't get invited, right, Mike?
In our service.
You're talking about not getting. They wouldn't be probably invited at all to the weekend.
Even that, I mean, but even so, if let's say they do, and then they put it up for sale next season or whatever, who's going to buy it? It's not like everyone's running IndyCar right now.
Well, this goes with another topic that someone was trying to bring up in here too. We're going to talk to about in a little bit. I don't know if it's next or whatever, Mike, about the kart series.
Right.
But I don't know. Is that topic the next one? No, we got to. Should we skip ahead to that one since it kind of flows into this one? Well, I'll take it then. So, Alex, how do you pronounce his last? Alex, where is his last name? Why did I lose it here? Anyways, Alex Slabulvics, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, asked in the forums for a poll for the Legacy kart car, which if iRacing would scan it in the next year or so or whatever. And I guess I was reading through it. I don't believe they're going to put any energy into an open wheel series on the IndyCar path side because it sounded like someone in there also pointed out that IndyCar owns anything that has to do with kart and all the open wheel racing in the U.S. type way that or whatever it's under the licensing.
Well, they inherited that heritage, so to speak, of kart. That was part of the merger deal, I think, as far as I know. So, again, I mean, this was a neat poll. I mean, I love the legacy karts era back, when you had Greg Moore and all these guys running like crazy in these turbo cars, and they'd go to Texas and black out because they're going so fast. And what a beast car it is. And I would love to have it in the service, but I think realistically, it's not an active car anymore. It was only active for a handful of years. And it's part of the Indy legacy. And for the same reason we just talked about with the cold relationship, I don't think that this is on the horizon. So there is a poll in the forums. 71 votes voted no, which ended up being 68% said no, it won't happen.
And you guys mentioned them spending time with the American Open Wheel Ladder. And that makes sense because they just got with FIA last week and they're probably going to start developing something in that realm. Probably spend a lot of their time doing that.
Well, the other thing too.
That's right.
Mike, I don't know if you see, whenever I think of kart, I think of the movie Driven. I don't know why. I just always think of Sylvester Stallone in Driven.
During that movie. I mean, they were kart during that movie.
Yeah. The Target car and the Motorola car, like the two iconic cars from that era.
What I remember right at the end of kart was A.J. Allmendinger, the next star on the horizon in the blue player's car. I mean, he was hot and coming. I think he even won a race or two before it all went south.
Leave that one alone, Tony.
So if they were passing out, in the corners at Texas, would they sim that? Like if you play these flight sim games, if you pull too many G's, your POV gets narrowed as you start to lose consciousness. They should do that if they're going to do a high bank turn where the G forces could lay you unconscious.
Well, I was thinking when that happened in Texas, I was thinking in my head, these guys need these fighter pilot jumpsuits that
Yeah, those
are called
compression
G suits.
Yeah.
They compress your body with pockets of air or pillows or however they do it, and it keeps your blood, in where it needs to be in your body. It's crazy.
I think that is a lot of machinery that takes a lot of weight. All right, we jumped a little out of order, but that's okay because those two topics were really related. We do have a quick hit on the Porsche 911 GT3R 992 spec.
Another Beetle?
Another Porsche, basically.
A Beetle.
Why would you call it a Beetle?
That's where it originated from, is the Beetle.
It's got those headlights.
If I hear Beetle, I think Volkswagen. I'm thinking a different brand, so that completely throws me.
They're one and the same.
Yeah. Is it Ferdinand Porsche that created the Beetle? Is that what it was? I'm gonna get hammered if I got that wrong.
If you stare long enough, I suppose it could almost be like a Bumblebee shaped car, maybe, if it was yellow and you stared long enough, because it is kind of short and tall. But it's replacing the GT3 in the system, and
God, I should not have researched that.
So he was wrong.
Nope. The Beetle was merely a brainchild of Ferdinand Porsche and Adolf Hitler.
Now, in the forums about this new car, I mean, to me, it just looks like all these Porsches look identical. I can't tell them apart. But to the discerning eye, there are key differences. Staff member Chris Yancher posted in the forums, the new Porsche 911 GT3R 992 is significantly different than the outgoing GT3R 991. We have much better information to develop this model this time. We also had direct input from some top-level teams currently racing the car.
You do realize every Porsche salesman says that about every Porsche model that comes out into the showroom at their thing too. It is completely different every year, but yet it still looks the same.
So I bought the Mercedes GT3 maybe the day this came out. And I don't know what was wrong with my brain, but when they announced this, I got upset because I was like, damn it, did I just buy a car that's dying? But then I realized it's not even the same maker model or anything.
They're just updating the fields, right? It looks like we're going to have by the time, maybe by next year, we'll have an IMSA, full IMSA field or closer to it.
Now, I can't find the comment, but I think it was Christian Schallner talking about this car, saying the weight distribution is much different, much more centered, or than the old car. And then I think the length of the axle, what do you call that? How wide the car is, that's different too. So it drives completely different and better.
Looking at the thumbnail, it just looks kind of more compact to me than the old one did.
Well, maybe it's the wider wheelbase make it look a little squat down, a little lower looking.
Does this legacy any of the other Porsches?
Yes, it was replacing the LGT3.
Okay, so it did legacy that one out.
And they did the thing, if you bought it within a certain amount of time, you get half credit, and this and that.
Now, just because we were talking about this, someone mentioned what's the next car we think that will come to join the Cadillac and the BMW and the top Le Mans part or the IMSA series. I believe it'll be the Porsche, um, whatever class that is. The Porsche version of those cars will probably be the next one that they'll probably get scanned quickly.
The only thing is, do they go to 10 cars in the class?
I feel like they want to go as far as they can. They pumped out a lot of cars this time for the road racing section.
All right. Well, while we're talking Porsche, Brian, let's talk Porsche Super Cup finale.
That's right. So this past weekend was the season finale, the series finale for the 2023 Porsche Tag Heuer Super Cup Series. They were at the virtual Monza track, and Gustavo Ariel took his second feature win of the season, holding off Charlie Collins and Diogo Pinto, who was last year's series champion for the top three finishers. But the series championship was wrapped up really by Jordan Caruso, who did have a decent lead coming into this final race. He wound up finishing with a 70-point lead over Sebastian Job, who finished second, and really just squeaked out that second by 1 point over Zach Campbell for that second place spot. So series is over. It's a brand new champion. First time for Jordan to win this series. So congratulations to him. And we'll be back again next year, I guess, for the next season. I'm assuming this is going to go on. I don't see any reason why they would discontinue the series in favor of a road open wheel series, even though that I think we're coming out with another one with the jet car, right? So
Yeah.
So I think the Porsche will be back. And I still think it's going to be their road racing top series for the sim. So we'll be back next year and see how they do. Sebastian Job is second place again. He was just had too much bad luck throughout the season, really. Jordan Caruso was very solid all year, very consistent, and that's what we see in these championships, especially with the inversion. That consistency and staying out of trouble typically wins you a championship. If you got the speed like Jordan did.
Pretty cool.
All right. Congratulations to the guy, and thanks for that update, Brian. All right, boys, it's that time. It's that time to talk update build. This build, season 3, features the Cadillac GTP car, the Porsche 992 we've already talked about, the Ligier, we've talked a little bit about that one, Motorland Aragon, Willow Springs, Chicago Street Course, Dirt Refresh, AI Racing, new damage model for a few cars, and a lot of feature updates. So we're just going to kind of go round robin and work our way down the patch notes.
Tons of AI added. 24 track configurations are added to AI. And then the dirt refresh that we've been talking about for quite some time has been done. I actually ran a dirt race today to see if I felt anything different. I really didn't, to be honest, but I'm not a dirt guy.
It's probably going to be effects that happen over the course of a race as well, rather than just one lap.
Yeah, that'll be real interesting for some of the the big late model series championships and the sprint car NOS Energy championships that they have going on in the sim. See if it mixes up some of those drivers. If you remember last year, the late model series was just dominated by the one driver, Evan C. So maybe this will kind of restart everything on dirt, where people have a little bit better opportunity to win some races and mix it up for the championship.
Windows 8.1 no longer supported.
So I hear that
Some of the other
that tracks in the UI are now sorted by city, state, province, and or country.
Identified by, not necessarily sorted.
Yeah, mine are still in alphabetical order.
Is it a filter?
I think it's just information that's added in the description.
You probably can filter it that way.
Yeah, track location, it's another drop down.
short parade laps at certain tracks.
Road America needs one.
So how do you guys feel about that? Honestly, the parade laps. Do you guys want a full parade lap regardless of where you're at, except for the Nürburgring, or would you like to see shorter ones?
I like the short ones.
I don't think any track needs a long one. You just don't need it.
Because we're not warming up tires, right?
Well, there's a place where you at least need enough distance in multi-class racing to get your gaps. There's a couple that that the starting position, even the normal starting position, because it only has a short start, there's no gap, and so the GTs end up doing a standing start, literally.
Talladega is the oval on the list, one of them, and so that's interesting because that's always a pretty long parade lap.
Yeah, Daytona too, as well.
I don't understand why they needed any of the ovals to be like. I guess Pocono, Talladega, and Daytona are the three ovals you'd really want a parade lap or like a short one on. But in the oval series, have we ever really complained that the start is too long? Usually, it's to get your bearings going for the ovals.
Yeah, those guys starting in 36th place. I mean, at some tracks, it's a struggle for them to get lined up properly and go. So yeah, the big tracks, the 2.5 milers, you could probably shorten that up a tad, maybe.
I don't think so, really, because Talladega's still short compared to driving all the way around Road America.
Well, and when the first person leaves pit road, by the time you get to the last person, they're probably middle of the backstretch when they all finally catch up.
Yeah, and thinking about getting ready and being ready, so I actually like that parade lap. Now I think about it. It gives you time to settle in, get yourself focused. There are some tracks that are already shortened, and sometimes I think Spa is shortened. I don't think we go full lap around Spa, but yeah, sometimes I want that time to just acclimate myself to what's going on, and I don't know, maybe I'm just weird.
About spotter has been updated quite a bit. They've added a bunch of new spotter calls.
They suck.
Experienced these in Sonoma quite a bit. They were kept calling out lap times, like whoever got the fastest lap would be called out.
Or
occasionally the leader they would give me the lap time of the leader.
on an oval, I think that's going to get really annoying. It was one thing on a road course, but if you're doing that every lap, calling out who ran the fastest lap.
Now, in the options, you can actually map a button now called Hush or Silence, where you can silence the spotter with a button.
Now, is that going to silence the spotter from doing his job of clearing left and right?
I don't know.
Most of those features set your chattiness to low, and he'll for you.
Title idea: Hush Spotter.
Okay, graphically, there's a new option, hide cockpit obstructions. Now, the biggest question in week 13 that I've seen in social media is, how do I hide the post down the middle in my Indy car? Where it used to, I can't find it. Well, they used to put it in the setup. You'd have to go like you're changing your setup and check mark a box. Now that's gone, and you have to go to graphics. And there's a overall graphical switch basically that'll affect all cars. And I did put mine on hide all, but have yet to experience it actually working because I haven't gotten the right car.
I'm curious about the A pillar. Is it going to remove both sides? And what's your view going to see? It's going to be weird at first not having that giant thing blocking
Well,
your view.
The A
well,
pillar is
maybe I
not as
turned it on wrong,
obstructive.
but it didn't turn off the A pillar for me.
And the A pillar is not as obstructive as Halo is.
No, it's not. The only time I really have a problem with the A pillar is maybe Bristol is looking high up on the banking for any cars that shouldn't be there. But yeah, your pillar is not really a problem. Just at maybe one or two tracks I find it.
Bristol, the roof is more of a, like the top corners of the roof.
Have you noticed the load times being any faster?
Yeah, yesterday, yeah, for sure.
I loaded into a room with less than a minute in.
How about audio hot swap is now supported in Sim? Like if you can plug and unplug your headset and it will auto recognize it, it'll use the Windows default, etc.
You mean it won't go disconnect and then you have to restart the whole sim anymore?
Well, I think that's what they're talking about, but what they really mean is hot swap. You're in Sim and you're like, oh, I'm going to plug my headphones in right now.
Now you don't have to. I've never had to restart Windows whenever the sound settings got off or the headphone got unplugged or anything. But anytime there's a Windows update, it's always changed the audio settings and thinks it's a different device for some reason. So I'm wondering if it will help with that, even though that problem has spread even to TeamSpeak a few times.
Yeah, we have to fix Tom's TeamSpeak.
Text chat in Sim is a little bit different. There's options to where you PM the team. So for team racing, you can type out something with a certain command and PM everybody in the team at once.
Seems odd with so many different programs to be able to chat wise, doing it over text. But I mean, there is someone on the team that might be only able to text people while racing in Sim. This doesn't. David's got about 5 months until this means something to him.
Okay, so force feedback. There are a bunch of changes to force feedback, trying to slow down the max force when you hit a wall and that kind of stuff. The biggest thing is, I normally go to F9. I run a few laps and then the auto button comes up and I hit it and it marks where it should be. Now you can just run a few laps and do a Control A. Control A will do the same thing. Now, I was a little dismayed though that when I tried that today at Sonoma, that it put me at 35 Newton meters instead of the normal 25.4. So the calculation that it's doing is very conservative, and I had to manually bump it back down to 25.4 to get it to where I like it. And so I was a little disappointed. Is that just a fluke, or is that how David Tucker wrote this thing to be more soft, I guess? I don't know. So more to come on that. I'm still trying to figure out everything he's done to the force feedback.
That hits most of the highlight options. There's a few changes to the AI. Nothing in there looks really exciting. Or I mean, not the AI, the UI. Right? Except, interestingly, Makoni's setup shop has been added to the paint shop.
As what, a sponsor for cars?
Yeah, you can add him to a car now.
Good for them.
We got updated next gen artwork for spoiler packages on all the correct cars on all the correct tracks. Even dirt diffuser on the dirt track.
Before we got to that one too, Mike, I guess on the roadside, I guess we did cover this kind of, but so they did make it's called a GTP class for the BMW hybrid and the Cadillac, the new Cadillac, and um, what's this GT1 series? What are they part of? Is that their own series?
GT1 are the old they're not legacy, historical GT cars.
Okay.
And to my disappointment, Gen 4. Man, I was hoping for Gen 4 updates, like big ones, or something different than what we've run this last season. Now, it does have some updates, but it says ARCA Menards Chevy / Gen 4 Cup, because it is the same car. It says a new damage model tuning pass has been completed with lower brake limits. Fixed an issue with the UI model for this car missing ducts, and setups were updated. Duct to duct.
So one of the things they're talking about in the simulation section is dynamic track. They have improved, or the way that the dynamic track algorithm is calculating on surfaces, and particularly on the outside of track edges. That will be interesting. They also say they've generated, the way they're generating race splits on car classes has been improved. I'm curious. I would love to have had more details on that.
That's all it says, is improved.
Yeah. Well, a suggestion I've had for a while is, if you have say you get split into two splits, and you have a GT field of 3,000 as the strength of field, and you have an LMP or a GTP field of 1,000, put those GTs, or put those DTs in the second split, if none of them are really a top split driver. But I don't know if they did something like that or not. In the old days, if there was 5, they would put 3 in one race and 2 in the other. But now they try to keep a minimum size for each class.
So I don't want to discount the dirt side of this. I mean, as I roll through this list and look at the dirt cars, there are so many changes to dirt. I mean, it's a complete overhaul. One thing I heard from one person was the dirt truck Pro 2 is actually drivable now. It's got a bunch of bottom end, low end torque now, and it's like way raceable. And so I haven't tried that yet, but that's on my list.
Well, we did go on a deep dive when the article about dirt came out, right? There was a dev blog on it. So we dove into it really deep. And I think, we don't spend that much time on dirt, but the good news about this is a lot of what's gone into this is coming to the pavement side next.
And as far as track conditions changing, it probably has a lot to do with the rain effects too.
Yeah, I'm scrolling down. I'm a little bit ahead, but it looks like for Daytona and Talladega, the pace car speed has been bumped to 70. Did you guys find that to be an issue when you were racing this past time with the new start zone protocol?
No, but faster's better at that track, so I like that.
Yeah, I think we were doing 55 when that restart zone first came out, and it was brutal. Everybody's getting black flagged, especially. Yeah, that's a long ways to go.
So they upped the pace speed, and then they made it a short track pace.
Yeah. Don't qualify last. Going Talladega.
How about AI is available at Irwindale Figure 8?
Have you guys done the figure 8 racing? This was my first time doing it this week, and I could not stop having fun. Some people took it a little too serious in there. It was just fun, but I think I got a P4 and a P2 out of it. But man, I just enjoyed the entire damn time. I don't know. It's only a 13-week thing, but it was exciting.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up, Donnie. I mean, iRacing, there's a time to be serious when you're racing, and there's a time to have fun. I mean, this week 13, is a great time to try stuff like that. Have fun. I mean, like I spend time in hosted sometimes, every week, and we have a lot of fun in there. I mean, it's more than serious racing. When you do these figure eight stuff, I mean, that's when triples count. Boy, you see them coming. You try to time it just right so you don't get hit. It's awesome.
A lot of guys brought up in the rooms I was in. A lot of them were first timers like I was, but they said, "How come this couldn't be an every week thing?" Week 13, just on some of them, not at all the races they got going on, but I get why they have it because there's a lot of downtime and they need to fill it with something. But I just had a lot of fun. I can't believe it went 3 years before I tried it. I watched my first figure eight race in person at Irwindale a couple months ago, and just sitting in the stands watching that crap was exciting and nerve wracking at the same time.
I can tell you why it would be really hard to do this as a regular season thing, regular official racing. It's one of the only places where you could legitimately intentionally wreck somebody.
Yeah, and not be proven otherwise.
Mike, one of the things that we passed here, the Chicago Street Course got the updated version of what the NASCAR is actually going to race on now too, since it's set in stone now, so that they have the actual modeling right now for it. I don't know how much that differed from the original scan, or not scan that they did, but rendering they did, but it has been updated.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I did run it last night, and it's not too difficult to get around. I mean, it's 90-degree corners, but man, two of them specifically are super tight, and so I'm very curious how it's going to go. But that might be I don't know, either qualify in the pole or qualify in the back, and just I don't know how that one's going to go. It's going to be probably how we all expect it.
Well, I wonder if I wonder if anything's going to get taken away from it in the rendering because of the pieces that were stolen from the job site the other day.
Yeah, just control what C and control.
If you have particles turned on, do you see the bullets flying everywhere?
Oh God!
You don't, because you're in a different part of town, unfortunately.
Oh.
Do I get prostitutes as my pit crew?
Oh, poor Chicago.
Sorry.
All right. A quick hit. The new damage model went to 9 different cars. Not going to read them all out, but the kind of the highlight for our field is the truck series. Now has it.
The Cup car destroys itself more now too. It wasn't on there. They said there's some changes to the rendering of stuff with it, but it definitely destroys itself when you wreck it hard now.
So 3D foliage. All right. I know an old extinct podcast loved talking about grass all the time, saying that they want better grass in iRacing. And now they're getting it.
Yeah, it looks like just Willow Springs in the beginning, but it'll come out to future tracks as we go. So I'm curious how it goes. I was thinking how much of a difference it's going to make, but then I was racing Sonoma last night, and I thought, oh, it could look better.
Well, it'd be weird if they actually had what Sonoma looked like 2 months from now compared to what it looks like now. It would be two different tracks.
Yeah, 2 months from now will still be brown, but 2 months ago it'd be super green.
I had it wrong. I had it backwards. Yeah, you're right.
But it's just that topography of that region of the state where it's rolling golden hills and oak trees and vineyards, especially where this track's located. But yeah, I guess growing up there for 15, 20 years, I got used to the brown. So whenever I hear people talk about the green, it just would look so odd seeing the race with the green hills. But probably good at the same time.
Wait, you just gave me a crazy idea. So, like, if we do a hosted session at Sonoma and we pick a different date to have the race on, should we see green instead of brown?
That'll probably come when the rain comes.
What? Okay, then if we do the Detroit Belle Isle, if we pick in January, do we get to race in the snow?
That would be cool. Ice racing.
Let's start with rain. Maybe some drizzle.
All right, have you looked down in the car section? That's where I am in my scrolling now. A lot of minor updates. We already talked about the graphics changes in the Cup car. Oh, here's a note. They made some changes to the brakes on the BMW hybrid, and my racing teammates that ran Le Mans with me say they like it much better. They feel better under the braking. Anybody want to talk about Motorland?
Track I'll never buy in Spain.
I'll probably have to get it if IMSA goes there. What about Willow Springs?
Yeah, Willow Springs is exciting. I bought a bunch of crap a couple weeks ago, but I don't know where my head goes. I went to go on it last night to jump in. I thought I had bought it, but I haven't bought it yet. But no, it'll definitely be a purchase this weekend. Yeah, just getting to drive around it, driving by it all the time. It's going to be interesting to see how accurate the background and the surroundings are. But it's going to be a nice. I don't know what the racing will necessarily be like and what kind of cars they take there. There's a lot of sweeping turns and like everybody's saying, there's not a lot of brake markers, so you really got to practice the track and know the track. But yeah, it only has the one configuration right now, and there's 7 total that they can do. I don't know how much they scanned when they went out there.
So that track has the graphical updates and the new foliage system and all that. So I'm curious how it looks, or does it look better than the other tracks?
And I'm also curious what it does to the performance of your card, if graphic card, if anything changes. Not hearing any complaints from some of the YouTubers about it changing much.
All right. Well, that kind of covers the update. Next up, we have an update about the new official Le Mans game for WEC. And it's called Le Mans or Le Mans Ultimate.
Yeah, PC based. It was announced or released or announced over the weekend here at the Le Mans race. And yeah, this is what Motorsports Games has been working on, folks, while everyone's waiting for the NASCAR update, and while everyone's waiting for the IndyCar game, while everyone's waiting for all these other games that are just, smoke and mirrors. Yeah, this is the game they actually were working on, and it's called Le Mans Ultimate.
So it is just Motorsports game rebranding.
This is what they paid for. I mean, when Motorsports Games took over the Le Mans license, it was not only to run that competition that they ran earlier in the year, the virtual Le Mans, but it was for this. It was to put out a game, and this is it.
So, do they call their name a different name, the Studio 397? Is that what considered what it is then now?
Well, it's a good question.
Because that's what it's saying the developer is 39 Studio.
Yeah, if you go
so
down.
Maybe I'm confused.
No, if you go down to the bottom of the page, you've got Studio 397, Motorsport Games, and then the 24 Hours and WEC. So Motorsports Game still has their logo on the property here.
Because it's R Factor 2 is it's who developed R Factor 2.
Yeah, is it Motorsport Games just not a developer but a distributor as well? Maybe they're part of this, and Studio 397 developed it.
Right, like they farmed it out because they can't actually put out their own software, so they had to hire somebody else to do it.
But it's not for sale on Steam yet, so
it's probably going to be delayed past the end of this year if they've got Q4 on it.
Q4 2023. So yeah, we'll
Q4. So what are they showing this weekend? Something they hobbled together?
It looked like it was one car and they were able to drive Le Mans, but it's supposed to be the official Endurance Series games. Like it sounds like it's supposed to have more tracks and stuff too.
Well, per Steam, the developer and publisher is Studio 397. So yeah, I'm curious. We got to keep tabs on this stuff if this stuff really actually comes out.
So just doing a little research here, Studio 397 is named after the 397 laps done by the Audi in 2014 edition of the 24-hour Le Mans. Studio 397 are developers behind R Factor 2.
Which is owned by Motorsports Game. Yeah, so it's all the same thing.
So, do you think they end up using this in the virtual Le Mans next year for their broadcast?
If they exist.
It's saying, because I pulled one of the frequently asked questions here. It says, what happens to Le Mans virtual? It says, it will bring Le Mans virtual series, the biggest racing esports series, to Le Mans Ultimate platform in the near future.
Let's talk about something more fun. iRacing in Victory Lane. What do you think, Greg?
Tyler Hudson, or Tyler D. Hudson as we know him on iRacing, takes the iRacing late model car back to Victory Lane at Jackson Motor Speedway. There's a nice photo here. Is that off Twitter? Or it's Facebook. It's off Facebook of him in Victory Lane in the nice iRacing colors.
Love that paint. That's a great paint.
It's such an iconic way of doing it, too. They always look good on the cars.
Real bold. Red, white, and blue. Yeah, I love it.
Tyler's fast. He'd probably be a pro if he wasn't, with iRacing. He always kicks their butt when he comes in on the Winter Series.
Look, I want to point out, he's winning in real life in dirt late model, but on the forums this week especially, Tyler is very active right now, talking to everybody about dirt and the dirt refresh and what's changed over the way it used to be versus how it is now. So people that are going into forums saying this or that, he's talking back. He's not telling them they're wrong. He's telling them why he's right. He's giving them video proof. Like in one comment, he put up a YouTube video. It said, "Watch this at this time frame, and you'll see how the car does this or that. That's what we're modeling." Blah 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 blah. And so, yeah, he's been really good about explaining to the community what's going on with dirt, which is needed because there's so many changes.
All right, Donnie, next up, we have a prediction for Road to Pro Round 2 and who's going to basically make it, I guess, into the Coke Series.
Yeah, Coke Series driver Derek Justice gives his prediction as to who makes it out of Round 2 of the Road to Pro Series. And he has a giant list here of who he predicts is going to be on it and some bubble drivers. He does have Ray Alfala making it back into the Coke Series. You guys notice any names? There's one guy I used to race with a decent amount of, and that's Matt Kemp, and he has him as a bubble driver. I think I raced with him in the truck series a few years ago.
Well, I want to throw out some names. Boyd Hogan. We've David, you know him.
He
He does
used to run
setups.
a lot of NIS as well, and
Right.
he's not been on NIS lately or even A Open.
Actually, Anthony
Yeah.
Burrows, he won the second race I ever entered. It was a street stock race. I'm not sure if that was rookies, and I don't know if we actually entered at the same time. But he won the second race I ever entered on the service. I don't know why I've always remembered that damn name.
I've been in a
And
lot
then
of races with Navarro and Eberhardt as well.
And then a blast from the past, Kenny Humpy, former Coke champion, trying to get back into the Coke series after I don't know how many years he's been gone. But Kenny Humpy is, man, he's fast. He's
been around forever.
Oh, yeah. Pretty cool.
All right, we really basically covered this next one, right? Do we need to hit this one
No,
again?
No, this is, yeah, I think we need to talk about this. I'll take it. But Greg West did put up some, what he calls season updates. He wanted to point out that with the dirt refresh, the 410 sprint and the dirt super late has now made the switch from fixed to open. In road, don't forget we have the new series debuting, the Rick Motec Ringmeister. It'll run every 2 hours on the odd hour. And I'll be running this if I own the car. Remember, it's going to change the car every week at the Nord.
Yeah, I bought a couple cars, Mike, just to get myself up to 8, and I've been working on paint schemes for them. But I plan on running at least 8 weeks of this one. So, actually, I'm pretty excited about it.
I am too. I'm going to step back from Gen 4, and instead of running Gen 4, I'm going to run this, basically. The other thing he mentioned is beginning our new venture into the LMP3 class with the Ligier. This car will debut in two series on the service. The GT4 Falcon Tire Challenge has been rebranded as the Falcon Tire Sports Car Challenge, and we will see the GT4 class running with the LMP3s.
Yeah, this one actually caught me a little bit off guard because I am running the GT4 series as a secondary, and so the fixed GT4 race will only be GT4s, and the open series will be the combined sports car challenge. And I think that'll be the same with the LMP3. So the LMP3 fixed race will be just LMP3s, and then the open will be in the sports car challenge. So it's going to mimic the IMSA series that they have going on.
The Ligier will be in the LMP3 Turn Racing Trophy Fixed series. Now that interests me. I love running like these little short, fixed races in road.
Yeah, it should be 15-minute races for the fixed series.
Keeping with prototypes, the Cadillac GTP will debut in IMSA, as well as European Sprint Pure Driving School Series and Global Endurance Pure Driving School Series, as well as the Watkins Glen 6 hours. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to say there. And then I'll cover the next one real quick, and that's just the Season 3 schedule has been released in PDF form. If you want to know about the next 12 weeks and what's coming up, well, this is where you find it.
Now, this is interesting. I'm trying to find it if they're going to the 24 hours in the European endurance racing again. It does not show up in Class A anymore. So the 6-hour version is not in Class A. So I'm trying to find if it's over in Class C, down in the road section.
Wasn't it a deal they changed it mid-season so they didn't even have to publish it?
No, they changed. They always have just been doing it during Season 3. Global Endurance Pure Driving School Series. Yep. That's it. So they are switching it to the 24-hour series again. It's going to be at Nürburgring, Monza, Spa, Indy, Le Mans, and Road America.
So when's Le Mans?
The unofficial, or the just the part of the season, Le Mans 24-hour race is August 18th, the week starting August 18th. So we're already
There you
starting
go.
school then.
It's too bad we can't have it at the same time as the real race, or at least the week before or the week after, to have some kind of timely fashion. I guess they push it into August on purpose, right? To try to distance themselves from the current event.
Well, the first time this all went down was when iRacing was already in season 2, when they found out they basically were going to have to lose, or I think it was coming into season 2 that they found out they were going to have to lose it, and then at some point during season 2 they came up with the idea of just converting the endurance season over. So that's kind of the timing is how it's become traditionally kind of season 3, but it gives them a little bit of extra cover that it is so far away from the real life event. And the majors has also been able to do their hosted race with the broadcast and everything, because the contract just doesn't cover that.
Yeah, I don't know how popular this will be, considering how the majors went and the timing of it and everything. He gets buried in the schedule, people don't know about it. It's not publicized.
There's a big community that already runs the 6-hour version, so I wouldn't mind trying the Spa and the Road America and getting another shot at Le Mans as well. I'll tell you more about that later. So Greg, what's this season wrap-ups?
So Mike was trying this, weren't you, the other day on the phone? You were trying to show us this new thing that they've added into the. Is this part of the app?
No, it's an email.
Yeah, the email.
Everyone got
Oh, it's email. I haven't even looked at it.
Yeah, every member got an email, and you can download the graphic, which basically shows your season 2 stats.
Interesting.
Mike, how many starts did you have? I just looked at mine.
Oh, I'd have to look again, but it wasn't much. Now the reason is it doesn't include NIS.
Oh, wow.
Because NIS is tied to season 1 officially, and so I replied on the Twitter to iRacing, and the first thing I said is, "Man, it'd be nice if this little stat, if you could somehow include the NIS, because it looks pretty stark when you look at mine, and I've been racing a lot."
Yeah, I only have 42 non-NIS starts, I guess. I guess that's actually quite a bit than I thought. I didn't know I raced that much. Yes.
Do you guys want to know what mine says?
0?
Yeah.
1 race start. Started 8th, finished 3rd. It was 23 laps. I don't know what it was that I raced.
I had
Probably
44 starts.
Probably Coda.
Yeah, could have been.
I've been running Gen 4, I've been running road stuff, so I have 44 starts, average start 12th, average finish 12th, 1,947 laps.
I have 69 starts, 11th and 11th on the finish, 3 wins and 22 top 5s.
How many starts?
69.
Nice.
So, yeah, iRacing, come on, you have a bunch of developers there and engineers and smart people. There should be a way to, finagle it where you can include the NIS stats with the season 2 stats somehow.
But that's its own season. It really stands apart, I think. So I don't know if I agree.
Now, will we get an
I'd
NIS?
like to.
Maybe we get an NIS specific one later at the end of the year.
Yeah, that would be very cool, because it is just going. There's nothing other than the fact that there's a build that splits the NIS season up. So it probably should get its own thing. And this is all of these other races. I guess it might include some of the endurance special events, but for the most part, all of these other races include your every second hour type racing. But that is a wrap on that topic. We already talked about Motorland, or didn't talk about it, but we have a tweet from it.
Yeah, nice little video showing off the track. It's
It's
your
fairly
typical
new.
European F1 style track.
Yeah, fairly new track. 2005, I think it said it was started, and 7 different variations. All of them available on iRacing, and all of them have AI available. So that's actually pretty cool.
We always get wrong what races there, so I'm just going to assume MotoGP races there, since that seems to be the answer for all the other tracks that came out that isn't too popular.
It is. It does do MotoGP. You're right.
Then the next question that comes up, Brian, is which beast to buy?
Yeah, this is came from a YouTube video from TC Sim Racing, and it's asking you guys. So, which beast should you buy out of the
First, taking iRacing quite
3 cars
seriously.
that came out in this build?
On
You know,
entry to get
the Cadillac, the Porsche, the Jaeger. What is it? I don't know, man. You got me on that one.
Ligier.
That sounds good. Ligier. So you guys kind of already talked a little bit about which ones you would get. I think if I were to get one of these 3, I'd lean towards the Cadillac.
Yeah, me too. It's actually TP Sim Racing, and he is a listener that often posts in our Discord, Tim Perry. So he's got a nice little YouTube channel. I enjoyed listening to his discussion as he drove these 3 cars, telling us, you know, what he thought. And I did share a lot of those thoughts earlier in the show.
All right, I definitely think Mike needs to give us the picture on this next topic.
Well, I've been talking about it for a couple weeks now. I decided to spend $160 at a local shop, artist person, to get a laser printed picture on wood of my iRacers Lounge next gen car, Gen 7 car. And I posted up on the socials some short video of it getting printed. Sent you guys some pictures in the Discord and on the Messenger of the finished product. I just picked it up last night, and man, I love it. It's huge. It's huge. I can't believe how big it is, and it looks really good. I mean, if you get up really close to it, you can see where the white ink kind of got smeared just a little bit in little spots here and there, but that's only if you're really nitpicky. I mean, if you stand back and to look at it as a whole, it looks very precise, very colorful, deep colors. I can't thank Bobby Jones from SimWraps enough for his work on this. He came up with the artwork all on his own. And he did a fantastic job. I mean, he rendered this thing in 8K resolution, and I was able to deliver that same 8K resolution picture to the artist who dumped it into her laser printer and printed it for me. And, you know, everyone talks about sim rigs and equipment and stuff, but I think this is another piece of it. It's been too long for me to get something like this, I think. Something to put in my office, to decorate room, to give it some color. You know, I got a little light I'm shining on it too to make it even stand out more. So, I mean, what do you guys think? How did it look?
It looks great, man. I'm rarely jealous of people and what they get, but I'm actually pretty jealous of that print. So now I'm gonna have to find something of my own and make it, because I thought it looked really, really good.
I liked the video you shared late last night, Mike, where you kind of entered your room and showed how you kind of had it displayed with everything else.
Yeah, I haven't hung it on the wall. It's like 50 pounds. It's very heavy. I got to find 2 studs and all that, but I have it just kind of propped against the wall, sitting on a table. But yeah, I mean, it's great. You know, my advice, Donnie, is get a professional to do the artwork, because the artwork that I had put together myself on the day I was going to do this, was crap compared to what Bobby came up with. It was unbelievable how much different it looked. And so I probably would have printed my crap picture and probably not been happy with it. But again, Bobby put together a really neat piece of work, and I love it. I mean, it's got the NASCAR logo, and I don't want to put it out really on socials and get the cease and desist and all this crap, because I'm recreating their logo. So I'm not really putting it out there. If you guys want to see it, you can see the pictures on our Discord. But it's for personal one-time use. I'm not reselling it or anything like that. Got the iRacers Lounge podcast in one corner, and in the other corner it's got the NASCAR or NASCAR iRacing logo. So pretty cool.
I'd tell them to come get it if you're that worried about it. Come and get it.
Right.
Did the artists have any qualms about any kind of copyright issues or anything?
Not at all. No.
Did she know what NASCAR was?
Barely. I mean, she knew enough to call the order the NASCAR order.
Nice.
But as far as she knew, it was a real NASCAR, not a pretend race car, as they call it. I had to kind of explain that.
Nothing pretend about it. Come on.
I told Bobby, I think the next thing I want to do is get him to sign it like an artist, like with a Sharpie in the corner. Why not?
Well, the value will go skyrocketing after that, that's for sure.
Look, digital art is hard. I mean, like I said, I tried it. I was doing it on my own and it sucked. My output was horrible. I mean, got these really cool motion blurs and different things going, and it was still crap compared to what he put together. So, yeah, kudos to Bobby. I couldn't have done it without him. But I really like it. My family is like blown away. I'm like, wow, that thing really stands out.
Yeah, we still have good links down in the description, right, for Bobby. If somebody sees this and they're interested, they can get a hold of him, right?
Simwraps.
You got to go to Simwraps. You got to get the artwork in your hand, and then you got to find somebody who has one of these laser printers. Now the lady I used, I'll tell you now, it's qbhome.com, like Queen Bee Home, and she will ship them. She will print these and ship them all over the world. She normally prints portraits of people and dogs, and so I'm the first person who's came to her with some sports related printing.
All right, let's talk some events real quick. The next major event coming up is the iRacing Washington 6 Hour that's presented by VCO. Standard start times, standard license. Got to have D4.0 road. The session start time in game in sim is going to be 10 a.m. Warm up 30 minutes. Race is 6 hours. It's attached qualifying. Dynamic weather. Splits by iRating. And it is a team event, 2 to 16 drivers with a fair share rule. The stop and go limit is 35 this time, and then every 20 after that. There is no DQ. Field size is 50, and it's the standard IMSA cars, including now the Cadillac 5 Series.
What's it not including, though, David? Everybody in the forums squeaking about this. No LMP3. And apparently even the real 6 hours of Glen includes an LMP3, but we don't have an LMP3. And like I said, I saw several people squawking about that.
Well, to do that, they'd have to either go up to 10 cars or cut one of the GTD cars. And it's not game breaking because LMP3 is going away from the top series anyway. There will be no LMP3s at all in the field next year at Daytona.
Yeah, I'll be running this, the Mercedes with my son. It's kind of cool that it's Father's Day weekend. Is it? Or is it not? It might be. Okay. This isn't this weekend, though. This is a couple weeks, right?
Yeah, I never announced the time, did I?
I think it's the 17th, or at least that's when we're running.
Yeah, the dates are 16 to 18.
Yeah, 16 through 18.
Yeah, so that's I'll use that actually. My wife doesn't care what I do. But I was going, that's how I can sell it. Oh, me and the boy are going to race on Father's Weekend, but no. It should be good. He hasn't driven the car around the track yet, but I think he'll be all right.
You definitely don't have to worry about getting bitched at about not doing family time if you're iRacing with your son. I mean, that you've got it, the best of both worlds there.
Exactly. And she's going to Seattle this weekend, leaving us all alone. So, tit for tat, I guess.
All right, Mike, the last topic I'll let you take because it's kind of you're planning on running it.
Yeah, in reference to the Nürburgring Endurance Championship, Greg West did post in the forums this week about the opportunity to add a 9th car to the lineup due to the changes in the build. The most popular request was to add the Hyundai Elantra, and that was our first thought as well. But due to some technical complications, we will unfortunately not be able to add that car this season. So in short, the Audi RS3 LMS and NEC exist as its own class by itself, so we are unable to add an additional car to a single class, as it would impact all instances where the Audi has been used by itself service-wide. However, if we were able to replace the Audi class with a new touring class, it would invalidate all results so far this season with the Audi. While we cannot add the Hyundai this season, rest assured we'll include it in next year's installment.
Is that because of damage model or what?
I haven't quite figured that out, but yeah.
That's a good guess.
All right. Podcast housekeeping. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find us. Mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so you don't miss out. We do appreciate it. Check out our Discord. If you're on the Discord, you would have seen the pictures of my new painting. Don't forget to go to our website as well and check out the show notes. We're in regular rotation at the Performance Motorsports Network.
All right, Brian, it's time to talk fantasy. And I'm going to start off by saying that my fantasy is to actually 1 week make the top 10.
All right, well, let's see how we did. Winning the week at Gateway was Mason Racing, 265 points, a really solid point day for Mason. He actually is in the lead overall in the series here over Canadian. He's in second place right now. Let's see. Looks like, speaking of Bobby Jonas, he finished 9th this week. Good job from him. Tony Groves finished 12th. Steve Llewellyn finished 15th. So not too bad for some of us guys. Like I said, Mason Racing is still holding a pretty good lead over Canadian in the overall points total there. And Spikerman is the only one of us in the top 10 in the overall points so far. So Donnie's still good there.
Yeah, this week was up and down. I think Bobby was leading the race quite a bit, but yeah, my pick'ems didn't turn out too well. My lineup finished pretty well. I think my worst finishing guy in the lineup was Allmendinger. I think he finished 14th.
Now, I said I'm 43rd for the week, but I have Kyle Busch in my pick, so I'm a little confused.
Well, it's the other 4 guys that you picked.
I see.
Was Kyle Busch in the garage?
Yeah, I was going to say, he was in my garage, so.
Hold on, I'll find out who you picked.
Yeah,
I had Chase, Briscoe, Brad, Larson, and Harvick.
You had Chase?
Briscoe, yeah.
Okay, I just meant Chase Elliott. That would have been a bad pick.
All right, and then where do they go next week? Or this week?
What's that, Sonoma coming up? Is that right? So we got to get our road course guys in there. Yeah.
AJ.
Kyle is good at road courses.
Well, also think, is it Brad versus William Byron for the fantasy bracket? Yeah, I think Byron will be really. He's really good at Sonoma.
That whole thing started out
Fascinating.
pretty awesome, and then it kind of petered out, and then it came back to life this week. So,
Do you think it petered out because of what happened with like some of the stuff that's gone on the last couple weeks?
but yeah, most likely. Too much to cover. You got to talk about TV ratings too. You got to squeeze that in. Got to squeeze TV ratings in before you squeeze anything fun in.
It also is a fantasy type one. Like it's not like a thing like where NASCAR's putting it on. There's money on the line or anything. It's just someone doing it, right?
Yeah, it's all unofficial, but still fun nonetheless.
Maybe somebody like Suarez, who's won here before. Might not be a bad pick.
I'd like Cindric to finally do something. He road course guy mentality and everything, but he hasn't really, other than Daytona.
Well, we know he can turn left into somebody.
I don't know, but did he?
I mean, two podcasts that are heavy against turning left on things seem to think so this week.
I know camera can skew reality, but just watching it, like
I thought he was entering the corner.
yeah, I mean, he obviously didn't make a sharp turn left, and it looks like he made his gradual turn into the corner while Austin was coming up to catch his arc. And I don't understand why it's so difficult to wrap your head around it.
Well, they suspended Chase. They didn't suspend him, and they've got the telemetry.
They didn't even say anything on it either. They said they were going to look at it.
They came out and said they will not. At some point, they came out and were quoted as saying they will not suspend him.
Did they? I didn't see any of that announcement. That could be you could be right though.
Tuesday they said that.
Okay, so they obviously don't see anything malicious.
Yeah, even the eyeball test wasn't funky. Even though thinking when it happened, I was like, oh crap, here we go. But yeah, I mean, just as it happened in real time or the replay we saw shortly after, it didn't even, like when Chase did, you like immediately thought in your head, like, oh crap, that wasn't good. Unless you're a Chase fan, then nothing is right in the world.
Nothing happened bad.
I'm wondering where that guy is on TikTok that soaks himself in Coca-Cola or Pepsi or whatever, and where he's been the last couple weeks.
He went quiet, did he?
Crying himself to sleep. My brother's one of those Chase fans that I mentioned earlier in the group chat this week, but yeah, he's it's interesting.
So road courses are fun for fantasy because it opens up a lot more possibilities and a lot more drivers than what you would normally consider. So yeah, get your picks in. It's going to be a fun week.
And it'll be an organic race. People are probably going to complain because there's not enough cautions. But yeah, no more stages this weekend.
All right, let's hit the hardware software, sponsored by Metro Ford of Chicago. First up, we have the VPG Sim VPF 75. Take it over, Mike.
Boy, this wheel. Carbon fiber front plate, injected molded grips, aluminum and carbon fiber back cover. This wheel offers unrivaled performance and quality. 12 ELMA encoders, 12 APM 6.5N switches, 3 toggles, magnetic shifter, single hall sensor clutch, and a screen. Fully SimHub compatible. This thing's a beauty. Now, VPG has always had some great wheels, and this one is certainly one of them.
Yeah, the button layout I think is one of the nicest button layouts I've seen. As many of these wheels that we've been seeing every week, this one kind of stands out to me.
Yeah, it looks like on each thumb grip you could access 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 buttons and switches. So it's actually pretty good on each hand.
and it's the 6 rotary knobs is pretty top as well, and you don't usually see toggles on a wheel.
It does look like a whole lot. I'm sitting here thinking what I would map, and I guess you could just map whatever you want to this thing, and you'd be just fine.
Now they're based out of the UK, and there's no price yet on their website for this particular unit.
When you get into the heavy, the higher, like what am I trying to say, the more complicated sports cars or F1 cars, you can change your roll bar on the fly, both your front and rear. You can change your traction control settings on the fly. Obviously, your brake bias. Um, you can change your fuel or your hybrid setting, how aggressive the battery is. There's a whole lot of things that you can change. So, and some of those are particularly good to set on the rotary knobs because they're designed to only have about 12 settings. Like the traction control really never goes past 12. So you can kind of almost memorize where 3 is or 6 is by feel or sight.
Yeah, looking at their other wheels, I mean, this looks to be a new version of one of those. I mean, the pricing ranges, but it looks to be most similar to their $1,500 Euro wheel. They have another one at 2,000 euros as well, so it might fit into that category. I don't know.
All right, next up, we have an Instagram post featuring some new software from Huskinville. It's called Smart Control Live. Tell us a little bit about it, Donnie.
Smart Control Live is an innovative software tool to adjust your controller settings to your own preference while driving. Your settings, your profiles instantly. Who of you has already tested Smart Control Live? So this is for the Huskinfeld pedals. I'm curious if you can use it for another brand of pedal. But yeah, no, it's a great tool to have. I know we have it on our end with the pedals we use, and it's always come in handy. But yeah, Huskinfeld. I don't know how long Smart Control's been around, or if it's something that's just coming out. But if you have a Huskinfeld set, I'd give this a try.
Being able to adjust your throttle and brake curve is really, really useful. And I even back in the R Factor days, a long time ago, used to have a setting where my wheel was more finessed in the middle and more sensitive on the outside. So I had a lot of play in the middle, but I could still I didn't have to turn the wheel as far to make a really, really sharp turn. I haven't seen anything that actually does that with any of the direct drive wheels, where you can actually make your middle have a higher resolution.
Yeah, pretty neat software. Like you said, you can set the different profiles with different curves, and then you have instant profile switching. So, for example, he has 3 presets: default, GT3, and endurance.
That's just clicking a button. That's kind of funny that they boast that. All right, next up, Brian, we've got a button box. I think we lost Brian, didn't we? He's frozen.
Well, the button box is a GTR carbon fiber button box, and it's from Racebox Sim. They posted this to their Twitter account. It's got a billet aluminum brake bias knob, 3 rotary encoders, 5 LED illuminated push button aluminum housing with black bezel, 2 momentary toggle switches, 1 latching toggle switch with a red cover, and a label sheet comes included. What do you guys think of the design?
Well, I really think this is probably the best Steam Deck button box we've seen yet. Because you got the Steam Deck up in the corner, but you got your traditional button box stuff kind of around it as well. So you're not compromising on giving up. Hey, I want a flip up ignition and a couple toggles and some twisters, but I also want a Steam Deck. And so you put them all in one package. It's great.
Yeah, I'm just a little thrown off by the design of Tad. I like clean lines and symmetrical looking designs, but I guess they're trying to go for a specific aesthetic here with the GTR naming. So something you might find in a GT car. So give them credit for that. But just little like the left side of the box. Why does it have to have the
Curve?
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, I mean, I get what you're saying too, with the Stream Deck and having all the other options as well. This is probably one of the better ones.
Look, if you want a Stream Deck, it's silly to get a Stream Deck without one of these kind of enhancement boxes, I'll call it, that enhances it, by giving you additional buttons and this and that, or a nice, carbon fiber look. I like the look of it. It doesn't look too deep either. Not sure I like the fact that the USB cord goes out the side of it where it's very visual. And so that's for sale at racebox.sim is what they're called.
All right, next up, Apple has put out a overpriced VR. No, I'm not biased. For
AR,
35
VR.
Did I say AR?
You said VR, but it's more it's an AR VR, yeah.
Oh, AR. Okay. And they finished the reveal. I really actually don't know any details about it, but there's nothing was said about using it with PC VR, and so it probably won't be useful for iRacing. But if you want to watch movies on a plane using the VR headset with the best displays available, this might be it. Apple's never going to do anything that's really that compatible with PC. They like everything being kept in house.
They are getting some amazing charging cables coming soon, I heard.
Go ahead, Mike.
Part of the announcement was Apple is also releasing tools that are making it easier for game production teams to use PCs to compile games developed on Windows for Mac OS and other Apple operating systems. So they're releasing the goggles, but they're also releasing new tools to be able to port games to it. And so they basically said any PC game can be ported to this. So that's what the forum post in the forums is about, that they're talking about. Hey, iRacing, it says, if you're listening, please develop a version for Apple's Vision Pro. Your VR users will love you, and I think you will likely see significant growth new users. iRacing in 3D at Apple's level of quality is a very compelling use case. Someone is going to build racing for Apple Vision Pro, and I hope it is iRacing.
At $3,500, are you gonna have that many people that are gonna need this ability?
Unfortunately, they're not going to need it, but they're going to get it because that's what they do. They're going to be wrapped around some building somewhere, spending way too much money on this VR headset.
I found it funny how the internet, when this stuff was coming out for iRacing, talking about it, they were showing memes of the goggles looking like what the Intimidator's goggles used to be like when he was racing.
They kind of look like it, yeah.
Very
I watched the whole Apple announcement, and these are some high quality VR AR. I mean, the size of it, for one, it's small. It looks comfortable. I'm told it's heavy though, but the quality is out the roof. 4K in front of each eye.
So there's 4K inside the goggles
per eye. And so the quality is out over the top quality. And then with the crown right at the top, you can twist it and it will dial in real reality with whatever you're watching or playing. So like if you turn it all one way, you're just playing iRacing and you see nothing else. But if you twist the crown, you'll start seeing the room around you, and the goggles will go transparent where people can see your eyes through the goggles. So like if somebody walks in the room, your game can go transparent a little bit and you can have a conversation with the person in the room. They can see you, you can see them. So that's the AR part of it.
So this kind of just like is a different way of you can uh, it's a monitor in your that you're wearing on your head that you can still have do things in the outside world like watching TV or something and being still able to play a game.
Yeah, basically.
Mike will be able to eat chocolates while he's racing.
Or or if somebody puts one of these in their car or they're able to drive while they're video gaming.
Well, a part of why I want to talk about this product, even though it's not specific for iRacing, is this is the future of VR and iRacing, I think. 5, 10 years from now, all the products are going to have AR integration where you're in the race, you're in VR, you're racing, and oh, you know what? I need to look at the button box. You twist the little knob, and now you can see outside your goggles a little bit to see your button box.
All right, Brian, let's check your connection again. How about this next video from Lapse Time?
All right, so this is a YouTube video from a guy channel called Lapsed Time, and he does 3D printing. And in this episode, he does some 3D printing for sim racing. He is a sim racer, so he creates some things with a 3D printer for sim racing. The first thing was a extension for his paddle shift. So done that. He did a little dashboard that you can use for button boxes and stuff like that. So interesting. He shows you, gives you links for some of the stuff that he's building. If you doing it yourself, it's pretty cool. Neat thing he did here for those who have 3D printing capability.
Yeah, check out 417 Mark. He designed a strain relief for his VR for the cable that attaches to the seat near his head, so he doesn't get tangled up in the cable or it doesn't yank on his head and that kind of thing. Just little stuff like that is pretty cool. He had a wheel mount as well that he took a regular wheel mount and kind of modified it to the way he wanted it. A neat video that gives you some ideas on maybe I can use 3D printing to enhance my sim racing experience. I mean, what do I have 3D printed? I got the wind sim parts. All the parts for the wind sim are 3D printed. Donnie, you gave me a little wheel mount to put my extra wheel on my upright. That was 3D printed.
What about that emergency stop? Did you use it for that?
Yeah, got that too.
All right, let's get at least one more in. Donnie, SimCube Active Pedals, long-term review from Will Ford.
I apologize, Mike. I did not get this one in. Were you able to watch it?
Yeah, I certainly did. Parts of it anyway. Will is giddy like a kid in a candy shop with these babies. I mean, for him, he actually said they made him faster in cars that had ABS because with the active pedal, he can really find that spot right before the pedal goes into ABS. And that has actually made him faster on cars with ABS. But with cars without ABS, he didn't find that they really made a difference. I mean, what else can I say? I mean, the fact that you can get that $300 and something throttle pedal now to go with the brake to make it a much more affordable, I think is a game changer on is this for everybody or not? That really opens up the possibility for people like a Brian McCubbin to maybe consider these. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah, maybe I'll think about it once my current pedals start to go down. Um, but yeah, one of the things he did say was that he would not recommend stretching your budget for it. It's not that important to pay that kind of money to stretch your budget. If you can afford it, he says it's the best pedals he's ever had. So he gives a really good endorsement for it, but keeping in mind the expense of it and how it could be how much of a burden it could be for somebody who can't really afford it to do it. So but he did have a lot of great things to say about it. Some of the shortcomings were that he thought were in it were more related on the actual sim and not the pedals. Like the sim doesn't kind of simulate the wear of the pedal as fluid heats up and different changes in the pedal as it goes, because it's just not in the sim software. I think that could be a really cool addition to something like that.
Yeah, and how long will it take before David Tucker starts, programming this kind of stuff into the sim? Does it take another manufacturer having a similar product before they really start doing it? I don't know.
Well, how much of it has to be programmed, or how much of it actually just works straight off of the telemetry?
Good point. But like the brake fade thing, like you overheat the brake fluid and you start getting brake fade, that would have to be programmed into the sim. I don't think you would pull that by telemetry. Let's jump to results. NASCAR iRacing Series. Let's finish off Gateway. Friday Open, I ran P22. A pretty horrible race. I kept getting run over and involved in other people's messes. Got the drive through penalty with about 5 to go, and it ruined my race. I was driving with 7 minutes damage, but was just as fast as the other cars. Greg, you got wrecked out.
I was did not enjoy that race. I was not prepared. I did not like the setup. I just don't like that track for some reason. I just have never done it. I just haven't spent enough time on it, and I just shouldn't have raced it. But you live and you learn.
We don't have Tony's result, but I think he did the same thing. He wrecked out. He didn't like it. David, rage quit.
Pretty much, I was getting knocked around like a baseball, just constantly getting hit. Finally, ended up with a drive-through penalty from running into other people's wrecks. And then in the process of serving that, I got an unsafe exit, and so then I just pulled into the pits and ended.
It's amazing how fast you can accumulate that stuff.
It's it acts like a big short track the way that track races, especially in turn 1 and 2. And you end up with a lot of conflicts. Like some of the contact was at Gateway, turn 1 and 2, the preferred line is the second lane. So if you're the inside car, you're going to the second lane. You're not going to go to the inside lane because somebody's on your outside. And there was constantly people just coming down and dooring you, saying, you got to run the inside lane. Nope. And then on top of that, people were really bad about dive bombing turn 3.
Yeah, I keep getting run over from behind because I wasn't braking like everyone else was braking. I was really going in easy and coming off hard, but I would get run over. All right, Sunday Open, Donnie, P11.
Yeah, P11 qualified on pole. This was the first race I've ever ran where I basically built my own set all week. So I was kind of happy with that. I got black flag running pitting for passing under yellow. That's such a tight radius for your pit entry as opposed to the cars out on track. Completely misjudged that and got caught up in that. Had to stay out, got held a lap down, had to get the wave around later on in the race, and then probably would have had a decent top 3 or 4, but I wasn't going to beat the leader regardless. So overall, I was happy with it.
All right, Greg, P8.
That's old. I didn't race Sunday.
Oh, that's right. Okay, then David, you had a tire strategy problem.
Yeah, I've been on this horrible streak. I've basically lost 1,000 I rating in the last 2 weeks. Not a few hundred, 1,000. And it was finally thinking it's all going to work out. We have this long run. All the guys who didn't pit have fallen behind us, and I'm in like 9th, and some lap car allegedly intentionally wrecks. I never ended up going and looking at the replay. With 10 laps to go, so all those guys with the fresh tires get to pit, and they're basically are running over us at the end and spin me out. And at that point, yeah, just continued stupid ass luck.
All right. Wednesday Open, Sonoma. Tony Rochette wrecked out. I ran P8. Great run. On the first lap, I went from P16 to P10. I basically kept it from there. Fuel only race. No mistakes were made. I will take it. Greg, P3.
Yeah, I think I started P7 in this. I kind of just started putting down laps. I made one little bit of a setup tweak to it, and the car kind of took off for me in the race, and just kept driving, not making any mistakes, and ended up P3. Everyone else was just making mistakes. I made a couple passes, but nothing. I call it uneventful. It was just staying on the track, and I had nothing for the other two, the two leaders. I was about 13 seconds behind second, and first place he lapped everybody.
Are you guys pitting at halfway or running it empty and taking tires?
Empty.
Do you take tires when you pit then?
No.
Nope. I made it with.
Right.
I think I made it with 12. I had 12 laps left.
My fastest lap times were at the end of the race on old tire.
Yeah, we were talking about that because I was just outside the 14s, and you said you had made yourself into a low 16, Mike, by the end of the race.
Yep. I was running 18s and 17s mostly, but by the end I could get it down to 16s. Tom Dreiling ran with you. He was a P6 while I was a P8, so he just edging me on the points just barely. I'm barely holding a lead in the points over Tom. Kyle,
Hold on, Mike. I don't think Tom's was 6th. I think he was worse. He wasn't as good. I think it was 16th, maybe.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't. He was in some. I don't know. There was something going on in the pack he was in for a while there, but I could be wrong.
All right. Kyle Pendergraph ran with me. He went off multiple times, even had a drive-through penalty, and finished 15th. I mean, one of the times I witnessed, because I know Kyle's faster than me, so I let him go right in turn 1, going up the hill, and he's mixing it up with the guy in front of him, and sure enough, at the top of the hill, he just went straight, went right off in the dirt, and I went right on by. And but he was quick, but had too many offs. All right, Thursday Open, I ran today, P4. Wow, I started 12th, got to 9th on lap 1. The leaders pitted before halfway. I ran it out of fuel like the night before, and actually led many laps because of it. Once I pitted, though, I cycled to 4th and kept there for the rest of the race. It was a great run. Ran with Nick Spiker. He finished 10th. Leaders, the top three, they were some 15 seconds ahead of me. They pitted early, like they pitted when the window opened, and then they didn't have to pit again. And like when they pitted and came out, I was leading. They were 9 seconds back, and so I knew when I pitted, I was going to lose it. They were going to get by me. So I don't know. Maybe the strategy, Greg, should be to pit early instead of late.
No, they're just faster than you. The only thing they might get out of pitting early is taking a little bit longer to catch lap traffic.
Yeah. Like some of the things you want to do, Mike, when you're pitting is if you're cutting close to running it out and you're coming up on, say, a couple of lap cars or someone that's going to slow you down, pit before you have to pass them. Then you kind of save your time. They're probably, like David said, faster than you, but you use less tire and less, it's less braking into the corners. The more you run out of fuel and take the weight out of the car, and then when you add weight back into it, you're not adding more weight to the car near the end of the race, which helps you on tires and braking distance as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. They just had more pace than I did. I mean, but that's okay. I mean, I kept it on track. I was consistent. I didn't have any offs. I mean, if you go back in the podcast 3, 4, 5 years ago and ask me about my Sonoma race, I was finishing 20th to 30th. I had many offs. Several times I would go off track, if any. So I really think I've turned around my road course driving since I bought this Cube Controls wheel.
Well, you also run more road racing too.
Yeah, the results prove it. So great top 5. I'll take it. Hopefully I can outpoint Tom this week.
Yeah, Tom, I did look, Mike, and my results. He finished 16th.
All right. Knock on wood, I'll keep going. Moving on to other results, I ran the FIA F4 at Watkins Glen. Started 9th out of 17. No practice. I just jumped in this thing fresh. I got to P7 by the end of lap 1 from 7. Started 9th to P7, that's right. And eventually I ended up at having a good run. A great race for no practice. Finished 7th. Then Donnie, you ran week 13 figure 8.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier in the show. First time I've done it. Whole lot of fun. Hopefully I can get a couple more in this week. It's the Gen 4 car and the late model stock car. I think you actually are faster in the late model stock around that tight course. So I'll give it a go a couple more times this weekend.
All right. Other racing I ran, Daytona prototype at Daytona. Started 19th, finished P3. Then Gen 4 at New Atlanta. Total shit show. I showed you guys some replays of this. Some of the biggest wrecks I've ever seen that I was able to drive through by driving down low to the apron and going around it. And holy cow, what a combo. I can't tell you what a combo that is. Gen 4 at New Atlanta. I mean, a lot of fun. Then we ran 87s at Tally. I was leading on the white, and I got dumped for the win. I actually called the guy out on it, too. I said, look, is that how you want to win these things? Come on. Then crazy race, a Pro Mazdas and the Lotus 49s, guess where? Bristol Dirt. Yeah, you heard me. And those Lotus 49s are fast on Bristol Dirt. Then I ran a week 13 dirt street stock at Lakeland. Started P10, finished P9. I suck at dirt. David, Majors 24.
So I said, hey, we've got this ace. He's like 3 seconds faster than us. He qualifies with a really fast time. The rest of us do okay. We end up in split 7 or 8. We end up in split 8 out of 10, I think, or so. First lap, the ace starts the drive, and he locks his brakes up in the Indianapolis turn. 15 minutes damage. first lap. So even if I'm not in the car, there's some kind of curse going on right now. We go ahead and fix it and just try to run it and see if more people will die out, because the car did seem to completely get back to full speed. I get to run one set of triples, keep it fairly clean, get back up to about 11th place. I hand the car over and head to the gym, and when I get back, I get a message saying we're done, and LMP2 missed his braking point and plowed into us.
Yep. So after losing the 1,000 rating and then that to top it off, right?
Yepers.
All right, let's jump to final thoughts. Brian McCoven.
Yeah, so I actually just got back from vacation, so I haven't had any racing this week, and really haven't even gotten the update done yet. So I got some catching up to do. Not looking forward to Sonoma with the OBRL Sunday night, because I'm not the best at that track, but I'll give it a go. Try to stay clean, and hopefully I'll make up some points by being clean.
All right, great. David Hall, final thoughts.
I might run Sonoma Friday night, or I might not. It just depends on how I feel. I've been enjoying the break. I've started playing Digital Combat Simulator, which is what it's called. I've been watching those YouTube videos for a lot, and it's a flight sim in VR. It looks really cool, and it'll be a nice change of pace for something else to play. I know I won't be around Sunday to race, because I'm going to watch a band called Halocene. You should check them out. They're a really good cover band who also has some awesome original stuff. They're on the heavier metal side. Super talented singer with a really high range voice. She can hit some insanely high notes. So I'm looking forward to that. Heading over to Nashville. Message me if anybody else happens to be over in the Nashville area.
All right, enjoy. Donnie Spiker, final thought.
Not a whole lot. Haven't raced a whole bunch. We'll squeeze in Sonoma probably Friday night, maybe Sunday morning. It's week 13, so usually every 13th week I break apart not really break apart the rig, but just clean it up, make sure all the bolts and stuff are tight, clean up the computer, make sure everything's working okay in there. And the wife's leaving me and the boys for Seattle this weekend, so house is all ours. See what kind of trouble we can get into. Hopefully it's not too much.
Yeah, kudos to your son, Nick. I ran with him at NIS today, and he looked respectable out there with a top 10. Well done.
It's good.
Sign him
All
up.
right, Greg Hectus.
Just, it's road course week, so I love racing the road courses with the stock cars, so I feel pretty comfortable. I guess next week's an off week, isn't it? For Father's Day weekend, there's no racing the week after, right?
That's right.
It's our last week.
Yeah, so looking forward to getting that done, and maybe I'll enjoy on the off week. Maybe see where some of the road racing is. I'm really interested in that Cadillac. I didn't fall in love with the BMW when it came out. I'm really interested for the Cadillac in the IMSA series, so I'll probably be purchasing that and doing maybe some road racing. I'm not going to guarantee it, but that sounds like something I'll probably do in the off week. But also trying to have something in the off iRacing to do, and playing a lot of Diablo 4. So it's taken up more of my other time. So, but yeah, just glad to be back.
All right, my final thoughts. We're still waiting for rain. I kind of thought we'd get it by now, but looks like it's season 4. Boy, if it goes longer than season 4, I'm going to be really disappointed. So we better get it next week 13. I tell you what. Also, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like it's something they start off the year with. It's just something that is it's always got to be like the start of a season, like of a full year.
With the Rolex.
Yeah. The big 24 might be the first big race with it. But yeah, and then running this Sonoma and running really good, I'm realizing I need to qualify better if I'm really going to get better results, because my qualifying sucks. And so I think that's my area of opportunity there. Again, I love my painting, my wood painting, I guess I'll call it. I can't tell you enough what it's done to my office just to get some color and some vibe going and that kind of thing. So money well spent. Can't recommend it enough for other people to try something like this. Let's print your iRacing car out and show it off with pride, and because I am proud. I'm proud of winning twice this year. I'm really proud of my 94 wins, and let's go get another one. Hey, we'll see you on the track later.